I'm here with my microphone and my ring light. It's kind of like a little Q&A. It's a little bookish questions video. I have 3 massive piles of books right beside me. I seem tired or exhausted at any point. I am. I've been non-stop talking today and kind of done speaking. I actually wrote down all the questions on this piece of paper. First question, let's just dive right into it, shall we? Least favorite book ever. But then also somebody asked me my least favorite book and my favorite book of 2024, and they overlap. So we're just gonna do it in one banger. So to start with the question what's your least favorite book ever? And surprisingly, it was also my least favorite book of 2024. And that is All the Little Things. I don't think I've ever read a book this bad. And the thing is, you were maybe expecting a funny little novella. No, this was like genuinely bad. I'm gonna give full spoilers here because I don't think anyone wants to read this after what I just said. It's about like this mom and this daughter, and I think they moved away from London and nobody knows why. And then this one guy all of a sudden just shows up. The daughter is like kind of falling in love with him, and so is the mom. They are fully being intimate, both of them, with him without them knowing. But like, you still have like these questions from the past or whatever. So basically, when the daughter was little in primary school, she like stabbed this girl in the eye or something. I think she ended up dying. And that turned out to be the little sister of the guy who's, to say politely, fucking both of them. I was like, okay, fucking predictable. But what's worse, at the end of the book, the mom basically kills the daughter. We find out that the mom is pregnant with his child, and she was like, oh, I hope like our daughter has like your eyes, referring to the eyes that her daughter like stabbed. And the funny thing is, when I bought it, because I bought it at a charity shop, I said to my mom, it's funny because the back makes it sound like either this can be like a pretty good book or it's going to be absolute pure shit. And my favorite book of 2024, if you've been keeping up with Vlogmas, is no surprise to anyone really, because it's Binding 13, like probably half of the population's favorite book of 2024. So I have read a lot of good books in 2024. I've had maybe a handful of 5 stars. Don't know what happened. If I'm now looking at my 5 stars and my like very highly rated books, this is the number 1. This is my baby girl. This did make me feel the most emotion. This did like resonate the most with me. It was one of those books that you like think of days and days and days and days and weeks after you fucking finished it. To stay on the topic of favorite books, somebody asked what my favorite book ever was. I feel like this is a question you shouldn't be allowed to ask, because I don't think anyone has a realistic answer, because there's probably like 5 that are my favorite books. But I do just have a standard answer, because you gotta have a standard answer for these questions. Because it's like you'll meet someone and be like, oh, what's your favorite book? And you're like, this one. They're not gonna listen anymore. It's obviously A Court of Mist and Fury. This is like the last book I have read in this series. I haven't continued the series. Was that last December? Yes. Why am I putting it off? I don't know. I think I'm scared. I'm nervous. But this made me feel so many things. This was just pure yes. Yes, 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 and yes. But I'm very excited to continue the series, and I'm not gonna get into this answer because it's a very boring answer. Simple question that doesn't involve a book. Somebody asked me, what's your most hated trope? And I feel like I can answer for, again, half of the population, because I feel like this is like everyone's most hated trope. Even if you don't think of it consciously as your most hated trope, you probably hate it with all your being, and that is miscommunication. I somewhere saw somebody say that they liked the miscommunication trope when done correctly. I'm like, what do you mean when done correctly? Like when they make up? It just irritates me, because I'm literally like, just be normal human beings. You are old enough. You have a developed enough brain to be able to use your mouth and tell the other person how you feel. I know. Crazy. Somebody asked me what my favorite series is right now, and I cannot answer that question. But if we're gonna say right now in this exact moment for this time of year, I think that's a good question. I think that's a good spin off the question, because I do actually have an answer for you, and that is the D.I. James Walker series. Hey, I know something. This is a Christmas detective series. This is book number 2. I recently finished book number 3. This is exactly what you would want from something like this. It's just a detective story, takes place over Christmas. Weird but interesting, but like it still has that like Christmassy feeling to it. It's just like how I describe the series, it's comforting. Even though they're talking about people being murdered, it's comforting. I still have 2 other books in the series and I cannot wait to continue them. I'm so excited. They'll definitely be in the rest of Vlogmas, but honestly, if I'm speaking about any books and you haven't been caught up to Vlogmas, I'm severely disappointed in you. Because you should know what I'm talking about. You should know what I'm talking about. Somebody asked what my favorite sad book is. Jesus Christ, this is a sad book. So, all the things we never said. I read this. I'm going to give you the full backstory now. I read this in 2020, summer 2020. I bought this at Waterstones and I immediately started reading. This was before I started like being online with books and stuff. And I didn't read that much, but I was a consistent reader. Every trigger warning is valid for this book. Okay, maybe not every, but it's literally about these 3 girls who make a suicide pact, basically. That's all I'm gonna tell you, honestly, because I don't even want to go back into my brain and like relive what it was like to live through this era of my life. It was an interesting year for me. Honestly, my life up to 2022 was rough. I would say I was nearing one of the like darkest points of my life. Like this sounds like I'm 30. I'm 18. I have no clue what the fuck I'm saying. But I know emotions. I know how I felt. If you're like, yeah, but you're 18, you don't know what hard life is like. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I know when I'm not mentally well, but okay. Yeah, I was like nearing rock bottom. That was like later in 2020, start 2021. But you know, I'm nearing it. Not mentally well whatsoever. I was on holiday in England and I can tell that when I get back home, I'm going to be broken up with. You don't even want to speak a word to me because I will start crying. For some reason, I decided it's a good idea to pick up this book. And when I tell you how hard I saw, and I still to this day don't exactly know if it was just everything that I was going through plus the book, or if it was, I think it was. It's not worth the pain. And for some stupid fucking reason, I think it was earlier this year, I saw that this author came out with a new book. It was called like This Is My Truth. And I bought it. Why am I doing that to myself? Uh-oh, my mics are dying. Please don't die on me. I'm gonna hurry up a little bit, guys. Okay, so somebody asked what my recent 5 stars were, but as I said, I only have given like a handful of books 5 stars in 2024. So I just thought I'd show you guys quickly my 5-star books in 2024. First book that I gave 5 stars was Fourth Wing. I can't believe that was this year. Like, that feels like so an ancient time ago. I mainly gave this book 5 stars for like the vibes and the emotions and like the thrill, and it was like a proper exciting book. There was just constantly something going on. It was always exciting. I'm not gonna yap for too long since we don't have the time to. Then, to take the obvious out of the way, Binding 13 I obviously gave 5 stars this year. Okay, then during the summer, I read the Shatter Me series. I continued it. I gave both Ignite Me and Defy Me 5 stars. They were just the ones that really like played heavily onto my emotions. But like also like it was kind of weird because like I didn't really feel like I was giving a book 5 stars because it was like part of a series. So it's like, I don't know, that always to me feels different than like finding a random book that is a 5 star. The final book I think that I gave 5 stars in 2024, that was A Long Time Coming by I was gonna say Harley Quinn. That's so embarrassing. By Megan Quinn. This is part of the Kane Brothers series. So I read the first book last year and then I read like the second and third like back to back. I had a feeling that this one was going to be my favorite. Everyone told me that this one was their favorite. And for some reason, when it always comes to the older brother and the final book of the series, it's, oh yeah, that's my bae. I fear I compare every romance book to this one. I fear I compare every man to this one. And you know what's so crazy? This is friends to lovers, and I never thought I would be a friends to lovers kind of girl. Never thought that would be my cup of tea, but apparently it is. So somebody asked me for underrated book recs or non-popular book recs, but they kind of mean the same thing in my head. I have a lot, so I'm just gonna grab and tell you, okay? I'm gonna be quick. So we have Spells for Forgetting. This is a fantasy book. It's classified as a fantasy book, but it also has a bit of a mystery. It has romance, it has everything you would need. This was so insanely good. I finished this in one singular day, in basically one sitting. I was kind of conflicted on if I would like this going into it, because it didn't really sound like my cup of tea. But this was an absolute banger. Just like The Other Girls by Claire Douglas. So this year I've read, I think, over 5 Claire Douglas books. I really enjoy her books, but this one is the one that stood out most to me. It was just the one that was most captivating, most interesting. And I really recommend the audiobook for this one. Actually, for all Claire Douglas books, because I've listened to all of them. On the Christmassy Vlogmas theme, we have The Killer's Christmas List. So if you have been keeping up with my videos, as you should be, you saw that I did read this quite recently, but it was really fun. It is really short. It pleasantly surprised me. It was better than I thought it was going to be, and if you need a short book for your reading goal, or you want a Christmassy book before Christmas actually hits, this is good. This is very good. It's a detective story. It's crazy, it's weird, it's twisted, it's fucked, and it's great. The Guilty Couple, I read this in January of this year, I think, and kind of like a heist-y kind of story. 5 years ago, Olivia was convicted of plotting to murder her husband. Now she's finally free, and she wants to bring down her husband because he framed her, and it's great. It's, again, audiobook recommend. This was a 4.75, so 13 minutes. I read this, as you can tell, 3 years ago. This is in my first ever readathon, if you've ever watched that. Sarah Pinborough, she also wrote Behind Her Eyes, which was turned into a Netflix series, which was really good. If anyone's watched that, you know what this bay is up to. It's kind of like psychological thriller. You don't remember how I ended up in the icy water, but I do know this. It wasn't an accident. They say you should keep your friends close and your enemies closer, but sometimes it's hard to tell them apart. If you're looking for a summary read to already put on your summer TBR for some reason, or hey, maybe you're from Australia, One of the Girls, or also The Castaways. I just really enjoyed her books. They're so good. This one was a 5-star for me. I read this in 2022, I believe, so a little over 2 years ago. This is about 5 friends who go to a Greek island for like a hen weekend or whatever, and it's great. It's great. This was so good. So good. And The Castaways as well. Indigo Ridge. I feel like this is a popular book, but I don't feel like I see that many people like actively talking about it. This is a small town romance, but it's kind of like a romantic suspense. It has a little bit of that mystery side to it because she's a detective and they have to like figure out a mystery. It was my first ever romantic suspense book, which is crazy since I love suspense and crime and thriller, and I love romance, so definitely a genre I should be getting more into. If anyone has more good recs for romantic suspense, please let me know. Another really good summer read if you're in Australia or building your list, The Villa. I read this summer, and this feels like you're watching Love Island. Like, that's genuinely how it feels. It feels like you're watching reality TV. This is about contestants who, it's like a reality TV show. It's kind of like Love Island. The viewers get to decide everything. They have full control. They can zoom in onto the screen, which is really weird, but they have basically full control. And she's a journalist going undercover into this show, and it is a thriller. It's crazy. It's a reality show to die for because there's a crazy prize, like a cash prize. It's crazy. It's crazy. But this was honestly, you know, when you're watching a show and it's like bad, but it's like actually low-key kind of good. That's what this is. Another book I feel like is talked about but not enough, Get a Life, Chloe Brown. So this is part of a series, and I actually do low-key want to continue the series because this is exactly what I'm craving when I don't want it too like spicy of a romance and I'm just really looking for that like strong emotional connection. There's 3 books and it's about it's like 3 sisters and they all have a different like illness or they struggle with something. I'm pretty sure one of them has autism, or I'm just saying that because I like myself, but she has a chronic illness, and this was just so adorable. Like, she has a to-do list that she wants to get done, like a bucket list, and he helps her, and there was a 3rd act breakup, but like it was fair and the way it was handled was understandable. Kill for Me, Kill for You. This is a book by Steve Kavanaugh, and I feel like I have seen this around, but again, not enough. So I have started the Eddie Flynn series by Steve Kavanaugh, but it hasn't been like the biggest hit for me just yet. But this was so good. This was a 4.75. You can kind of guess by the title what it's about. Kill for me, kill for you. The twists were great. This was great. I did listen to this. Also, when I say that I listened to the audiobook, it's obviously on Nextdoor, and I have a code if you want your first 45 days for free. As I always say, it's just in the description, and then you can just make your account, and you can very easily cancel as well, so don't worry guys. I mean, this is kind of a series that I recommend, which is the Helen Gray series by MJ Arledge. So I've read the first 5, but I really enjoyed the series. It's a detective series. Each book has a different case, but they're super fast paced. I don't think there's a chapter that's over 5 pages. It's so good. The writing is just, it's really nice. It's just amazing. It's an amazing series, and I'm kind of in that point of the series where like I want to continue, but I don't, because I don't want it to be over, but I have enough books left, and there's still new ones coming out, but like I'm conflicted. Then another series that I really enjoy is the Cassie Raven series. So this is book number 1 called Body Language, but I've read the first 3. Book 4 just came out recently, which was actually sent to me by the author and the publishing company, which is very nice. Thank you so much. But this is about a mortuary technician, and she kind of like hears the dead speak. I know you're like, girl, I don't want to read about that, but she doesn't. It's kind of more like an intuition kind of thing. There is this super low-key subplot of romance that's been like spread out over the past like 4 books. They are both female, if that's something that bothers you, which it shouldn't. These are great. These are very short, easy to read, and they're just a bunch of fun. Then again, one of my favorite series is the Dia Henley. Dia Henley series. So the first 2 books are actually, the first 3 books are out, but I haven't read the third one because I'm waiting for it to come out in paperback, which is in January. This was actually a 5-star read for me. It's kind of like more on the gross and like disturbing side. It definitely felt like Criminal Minds. And it is giving kind of like a little bit of like a Hannibal Lecter kind of storyline. I'm not going to say much more because you should just really read it. And I'm not sure if it is anymore, but when I read this, it was, the first book is on Kindle Unlimited. At least it was. So those were all my underrated / non-popular book recs. Then we're going to quickly get into short books for a reading slump. I'm just going to combine this with books that are good for a reading slump because you can pick out if they're short. Never Lie by Frida McFadden. Honestly, most Frida McFadden books are great to get out of a reading slump. I just picked this one because it is my favorite. This is just very fast paced and it's just very good. Short, sweet. I'm just showing you the books because I did just talk about them. Again, short, it has a bit of both, a bit of mystery to keep you intrigued, but a bit of romance to keep you yearning for more. I don't know what it is about this book, maybe because it has like 3 genres in one, but this captivated me. And also the Helen Gray series, because as I just said, the chapters aren't more than 5 pages, and honestly, with all the books in the series, by the way, and I feel like that's exactly what you would want if you are in a reading slump. I probably have more, but my brain isn't braining today. I'm so sorry. I have a bunch of videos on books to get out of a reading slump. I'll put them in the screen somewhere if you want to know. Okay, final question. So the question is, what are my favorite authors in general? So I'm just gonna quickly mention them because Bay, I think it's Nadine Matheson, but I don't, is that how you pronounce your name, Queen? Lauren Asher is actually my bae. If you hate on this series and if you hate on her, I hate on you, Frida McFadden. I am very sad about that one lady who said that Frida McFadden is the Colleen Hoover thriller. My microphone's died, so it's probably sounding super hollow right now. Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So I was a massive fan of the Inheritance Game series. I only read the first 3. The other ones just don't interest me because I think where I left off was perfectly fine. And I've read the first 2 books of the Natural series, and it is just a great series. And this is also a great book to get out of a reading slump. I don't know why I didn't just mention that. But hopefully you're still watching. I love Holly Jackson. I have read the entire Good Girls Guide to Murder series. I've read 5 Survive, and the reappearance of Rachel Price is still on my to-read list. I don't know why I haven't read it. This whole year has just been wasted on me being sad, and I hate it. And finally, MJ Arledge. As I said, I have literally every single book that this man has published, like almost. I think I'm missing like 2. And it's a lot. I have like probably like almost 20 books or something by him, which is insane. Also, I do just want to give an honorary mention to Megan Quinn. because her writing is really good. Okay, I'm so hungry, guys. You don't even understand. I'm actually about to die of hunger. So I'm gonna go eat. I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was very chaotic. I hope you had fun. If you're still watching, oh my god, little emoji up here. And I will see you when I see you, which is tomorrow on Vlogmas Day. I don't even know. I'm just too hungry. Bye.